Everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to do a video on a stock that I think is massively uninvestable. I would not be touching this. And like I said, I've tried to do a few more videos recently where normally I'm talking about stocks that I'm bullish on all the time. Like, I like this stock, I like this stock, I like this stock. But I never talk about stocks I don't like and maybe reasons why I don't like them and why I think they're uninvestable. So I thought I'd mention a little bit more about some stocks I don't like so you guys kind of see what I look for when I don't really like that investment. So yeah, today, as you can see, it's a new background. I'm away with work today, but I should be back tomorrow anyway for you guys. Still recording a video for you. But yeah, we're going to take a look at a stock which I think is in an awful place, and I definitely won't be touching it. So I hope you enjoy the video. As well as that, if you want some free shares, join through the link in the description through Trading 212, get a free share worth up to £100. Now, today we're going to talk about Boeing. Now, the stock was actually down 4.2% yesterday, and I was actually quite surprised by that because it meant the market took the newest news that came out as serious, and I didn't think it would do that. I thought the market would kind of go, that's conspiracy theories that have done that last bit of news. But by the looks of it, you know, a really bad day yesterday, especially on a green day yesterday. Market liked the inflation news, even though it wasn't majorly improved. Market really loved it. Nvidia is always shooting up, but this stock obviously broke the trend and down massively, and the news that came out in the last 24 hours was clearly seriously taken by the market, which was really surprising. But Boeing, I mean, what a different 5 years this has had to the last couple of years. It's been massively different. So if we zoom out and look at the chart here, you can see, for example, we had you can see this drop here, that was due to the pandemic that we had. I'm going to stop using the word CV because I got a few comments on the last video that I mentioned it too much, and honestly, the amount of times you make a video and then you go back and then you look and go, why did I say that? Or why did I say that word so much? You can see here, the pandemic happened, big drop on the share price. Obviously, everyone automatically thought no one's going to be flying, no one's going to be buying planes. So it was hit by that. But even though that has happened, you can see there was really, since that 2021 rally, there hasn't really been that much improvement. The stock is actually down since 2021 in that 3-year time frame. And then when you look at that, that 3-year time frame, travel has really rebounded. You look at a lot of airline numbers in that time frame. All the numbers are basically ahead of where they were in 2020 or the last full year, which is 2019. A lot of the numbers are ahead of that time frame, but yet they've still not rebounded. And I bet you, I've not even done this, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go on Airbus's stock chart, and I bet they are higher than where they were before 2020. Let's have a look. Whoa, there you go. Look at that. Honestly, I did not look, but you can see here there's a big separation between Airbus and Boeing, and they've just not recovered at all from a share price point of view, and that when you look into the financials, that is the case. But what we're going to say is that previously this was a general stock market. Boeing used to trade at a premium. If you ever look at what Boeing used to trade at, it was like a premium to the market. It was like 30 times earnings. And the share price itself, I mean, if you held it, for example, from, let's say, 2010 up to where it was before the CV situation, this was a 5-bagger for a pretty basic company that wasn't growing massively. Still a good return. And even when you go onto Boeing's site, they've got commercial, defense, space, and this is an example of what's to come. Like, even the main website is filled with major issues that Boeing have had in the last few years. And I generally think that if it wasn't for the monopoly or duopoly they have between Airbus and Boeing, and them being basically 90% of the manufacturers of commercial planes, if it wasn't for that, I think this company would have been bankrupt now. Because it's been so badly managed and they've had so many errors, I think they would be bankrupt. And it's just because they've got the duopoly that they're able to kind of keep going here. And it's kind of to the point of view, like, because it's very hard for companies or a company to step in and make commercial planes because there's so many steps they need to go through. At what point do you kind of get to the point of view where you have to go, you know what, there's been that many errors with this business, they've just got to call it a day. And the reason why that isn't happening is because Airbus already make a lot of planes and already have years of backlog. Imagine if Boeing wasn't to exist and the amount of backlog and planes that would fall behind for travel. It would cause a major headache for plane companies. They wouldn't be able to get the planes out, and plane travel would be limited, and it would go very expensive. Inflation 2.0 probably on plane travel, and that's the only reason why they're surviving. And it's like, at what point does it come morally correct to say, you guys have got to stop making planes because you've messed up so much? And that's the really tricky point, and I feel like they should be there already, but they're not. So, I mean, let's look at Boeing, by the way. Simple Wall Street, let's have a look at it. By the way, if you want to join through the link in the description. You get a 14-day free trial, and at the end of the 14-day free trial, you get a 30%, I think it's 30%, or it could be 40% off your full year subscription. I get a few questions about that and how to get a discount on it. So if you do look at the Boeing, for example, I mean, they've not made a profit since the CV situation, and even now, it might be the first year they start getting back to profitability. But it's been an absolute mess on the financial point of view because of all the errors that they've been having at the moment. But what this company used to be, proud of is the dividend growth. This is why it used to trade at a bit of a premium, and even now, the dividend hasn't come back on the business. But when we look at the issues here, these are the issues that they've had. So first of all, the MAX 8, the big one that caused a lot of the issues. So without going too into what happened with that one, basically they had to change the plane engine's locations onto the wings, and when they put them on the wings, they had to fit a device which basically altered, because the nose was tipping because of the weight. They had to alter where the flight path of the plane would naturally fly at. So it had that kind of, the weight of the engines would push it down, but they had fitted it with a device that would tilt it back where the nose should be. Now, what happened between the 737 and then the MAX 8 is when they did that little change to the MAX 8, they didn't tell any of the pilots, which then when this part started faulting, the pilots didn't know how to switch it off. So we had one crash with the MAX 8, and then we had, which was in October 2018, and at the time, Boeing were covering up the cracks massively on this. They said there was nothing wrong with the plane. They still didn't tell the pilots about what was going on here, and they basically lied about the situation. And then we had the second crash in 2019 of March. That's when, and by the way, that 346 people died during that time frame as well, between the two crashes, which is absolutely crazy. And it wasn't until the second crash that they kind of went, actually, yeah, there's something wrong with the planes, which is absolutely insane. For a company like that to kind of, first of all, cover the cracks, not tell the pilots, not tell them about the extra training they should be doing about how to turn it off, and rushing to get clearly a faulty device through. And then it had to happen a second time before Boeing actually kind of went, oh, actually there's something wrong, and they were massively covering the cracks up about this. Is terrible. To be at fault for that loss of life and not be honest about it is absolutely crazy. But now you look at the amount of issues that have even started coming up. Is that you look at, I don't know if you saw the other day, but 4 days ago there was a plane that set off and the wheel fell off and crushed the car. Imagine if somebody was in that car. They were that close again to another major error. And I don't know if you saw this one, another one that came out, I think it was yesterday. And there was a plane that the instrument failure happened, and the plane basically dropped like 500 feet. And I think there's about 50 people injured on this flight. Same again, another error. Now, why the share price dropped today is because once again there was another thing that came out, and like I said. Oh, by the way, another one, I forgot to even mention this one. It's bad that we've got this many stories. 2 months ago, the door fell off the plane, I don't know if you remember, and someone forgot to put the bolts back in the plane door. Luckily, no one was actually sat at the seats where the plane door were, but imagine if they were sat there and they had no seatbelts on. That is, once again, a massive error by Boeing. It was a 4-week-old plane, and someone forgot to put the bolts in the door. Like, imagine if they got a bit lucky that no one was sat there. Imagine if someone was sat there when they were so close again to a major, fatality error once again. And so the reason why the stock actually dropped today is because there's currently a lawsuit going on against Boeing, and they're with from a whistleblower, and it's against safety problems. And this guy, John Barnett, was found dead. Now, I'm not going to try to create a conspiracy theory here, but basically he was currently giving evidence and one of the main whistleblowers against Boeing and the safety issues. And he basically did a couple of days in the court. He was supposed to go back and give more evidence. He had a few TV appearances booked, and he was found dead at 62, and it was suicide. He was shot in the head, which is, like I say, I won't say, I don't want to get into too much as a conspiracy theory, but to be the timing of where it is crazy. Is crazy. And he worked in for 32 years, and he retired in 2017. He was one of the main whistleblowers, you can see here, and he said that Boeing were fitting substandard parts. He said that they were fitting faulty oxygen masks, saying 1 in 4. By the way, this is from Oliver on Discord, so thanks Oliver for this. Faulty oxygen masks. He said that the new plane builds were rushed. Clearly, we've seen all the issues that they've had before, and like I said, he was supposed to show up on Saturday. Didn't show up. Went to go see where he was, and they actually found him dead in his car in the parking lot. Like I said, I think he has, as the claim is, to commit suicide. And like I said, I don't want to build up on a conspiracy theory here, but it's just so fishy, isn't it? A company that's clearly got a history of lying and covering cracks up and has no concern for people's lives. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of smoke and things going on with this business, and like I'm not saying it is something fishy going on here, but when you just have all of these issues building up with this business, it's just an absolute mess, isn't it? And I personally won't touch it. From a moral point of view, I personally, this, people talk about investing in businesses for morals. This is mine. This is mine where I go, this is a mess. Like, I don't know if there should be, there's major issues that are going on here, and then getting all these red flags. And once again, like, you'd be fine with what's happened in the last few days if it wasn't for all these red flags and things to cover things up. But it's a mess. It's a mess. And I think, when they are clearly responsible and lied for so many deaths, and once again, you're getting a major court case going on like this, and one of the main whistleblowers is suddenly found to have committed suicide. I mean, it's just so many issues. And for me, my point of view, this is where this is an example of a business where there's so many things going on where I won't touch it. And it's the point of view where I think that it might even get to the point of view where people go, you know what, if that plane's a Boeing, I'm not flying with them guys today. That's where it starts getting to. So yeah, I personally think, for me, this is an example of a stock that you just won't touch because there's so many red flags going on with it. It's just an absolute mess. And like I said, I'm still surprised. If it wasn't for the duopoly, they wouldn't be allowed to operate. But in my opinion, they still get away with it because they're needed. And I say, where's the point where you call the line and go, these guys shouldn't be operating anymore. So it's a mess. But yeah, there's an example of one that I would not want to invest in, and just a mess of a business that's going on at the moment anyway. So I hope you enjoy it, guys. See you in a bit.